Hey guys, today we stand at the edge of possibility, toes curled over the lip of routine, ready to step into something that feels just a bit uncomfortable. And that's exactly where growth lives. You blink against the morning light filtering through your window, and for a moment, everything seems the same. But take a slower breath and look closer. Today is not another repeat of yesterday. Today is a chance to stretch the boundaries you drew around yourself, to test your limits with one purposeful action. Reality check, it's not magic, it's habit. Growth doesn't crash onto you like a wave. It seeps in drop by drop, goal by goal. So let's commit to one more step than yesterday, and in that simple movement, build momentum for a lifetime. You wake, maybe a bit groggy, but something inside you whispers that survival on autopilot won't cut it anymore. You can feel it, the itch of quiet dissatisfaction that nags at your ribs when you scroll your phone instead of opening a book, when you settle into old patterns instead of risking a new challenge. That itch is your inner growth engine urging you forward. Setting a daily stretch goal is the way you oil its gears. It's not about reinventing your entire life in 24 hours. It's about choosing ye one thing, right now, that nudges you just out of comfort's embrace. Imagine you're standing at a doorway. Behind you is the familiar warmth of enough, but stepping through is a corridor glowing with potential. You might hesitate. What if you stumble? What if you fail? That hesitation is normal. Your brain is wired to avoid risk. But comfort is the slow death of progress. So here's the first rule. Pick one meaningful goal per day that makes you just a little nervous, just a little uncertain, just a little braver than yesterday. What does that look like? It might be writing 300 extra words on your project, pitching an idea to a colleague you respect, or running an extra kilometer around the park, even though your legs still burn from yesterday's workout. Maybe you speak up in a meeting and share a perspective you've been holding back, or you call a mentor out of the blue to ask for advice. Each day's goal is tiny in isolation, but compounded over weeks, months, years. These micro-stretch goals become the scaffolding of a stronger, more capable you. Let's break down why this matters. When you set a daily stretch goal, you do two things. First, you override your inner autopilot. That voice that murmurs, "This is fine," suddenly gets replaced by a firmer command, "Not today." You're rewiring your brain to favor growth over comfort. Second, you build self-trust. Each time you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you can rely on your own word. That proof, little as it may seem in the moment, expands your confidence like compound interest in a bank account. But don't fall into the trap of grandiosity. If your goal is so massive that you can't possibly start it today, you set yourself up for burnout. The sweet spot lies in what I call the stretch and not the snap. It must stretch your limits, but not snap your resolve. For example, if you've never run before, don't sign up for a marathon tomorrow. Instead, aim for a 10-minute run today. If you're terrified of public speaking, plan to say one brief thought at a group gathering. The point is consistency. One meaningful goal, executed daily, trumps a burst of enthusiasm that fizzles in 2 days. When you first adopt this routine, expect resistance. You'll feel that internal tug of war. The rational part of your mind whispers, "Wait, rest for 5 more minutes," while the growth-oriented part clenches its fist and says, "Stand up." That tussle is good. It's how you build mental muscle. Lean into the discomfort. Recognize that resistance isn't a barrier, it's a sign you're on the right track. When you notice hesitation, pause and label it. I feel resistance. That means I'm doing something that matters. Then push forward anyway. Practical steps to nail your daily stretch goal. 1. Define your goal. First thing, as soon as you wake, ask yourself, what one action today will make me better than yesterday? Write it down in a journal or on a sticky note. Making it concrete cements your commitment. 2. Keep it visible. Place your goal where you'll see it, on your bathroom mirror, your desk, or as a phone reminder. Out of sight is out of mind. 3. Break it into mini tasks. If your goal feels big, split it into 2 to 3 small steps you can tackle sequentially. Checking off each step fuels momentum. 4. Schedule it. Block a time on your calendar. Treat this goal like a non-negotiable meeting with yourself. Accountability. Partner. Tell someone you trust what you plan to do. A quick text afterward fuels a sense of ownership. Next, reflect immediately. After umpisi, at day's end, note how you felt taking that stretch. Did it feel harder than expected? Easier? Let those insights guide tomorrow's goal. By repeating this cycle, define, act, reflect, you create a virtuous loop. You wake up and repeat, and each repetition adds a brick to your confidence foundation. Over time, that foundation supports bigger and bigger goals because your brain learns to expect growth. Remember, perfection is not the aim. If you falter, that's part of the process. A missed goal is a data point, not a verdict on your worth. When you slip, analyze why. Did you underplan, overreach, let fatigue win? Use that insight to calibrate your next goal. Growth thrives on this cycle of goal, attempt, reflection, and adjustment. As the days roll on, you'll notice a shift. You start anticipating your daily stretch. You may even feel a mild itch of disappointment on the rare day you don't push yourself. That itch is your growth instinct strengthening. And because you've built the habit of one meaningful goal per day, stretching out of comfort becomes as natural as checking your phone in the morning. Now, keep this in mind. Every great journey begins with a single step, and the journey to your best self doesn't demand marathon leaps. It demands consistent, purpose-driven strides. Each small goal is a victory, an affirmation that you choose growth over complacency. Celebrate that choice, then prepare for tomorrow's new step. You wake before dawn, the world settling around you in hushed tones. And for a moment, you taste freedom, free from tomorrow's promises and yesterday's regrets. But even that fleeting breath of calm dissolves when your mind hurls you back into yesterday's unfinished tasks. Today, you choose a different path. You slide out of bed, feet brushing the floor, and inhale the quiet. That inhalation is your invitation to look backward before you move forward. Because reflection isn't a luxury. It's the compass that cuts through the fog of routine. Imagine your mind as a sprawling laboratory where every decision, every emotion, every flicker of impulse is an experiment. If you don't record outcomes, you're doomed to repeat failed trials, replaying the same mistakes in an endless loop. Reflection is the phase where you sift through yesterday's data. What propelled you? What stalled you? What distracted you? And what surprised you? Only by scrutinizing these results can you design an intentional blueprint for today's trial. Here's why pausing each day makes all the difference. When you operate on habit alone, you drift through your life by rote, reacting rather than choosing. Reflection flips that switch, shifting you from autopilot into conscious living. Suddenly, you see the triggers that push your buttons, the patterns that shape your behavior, and the hidden reasons behind your choices. And because you're human, emotions color every decision. By treating feelings, stress, excitement, frustration as data rather than distractions, you gain emotionally intelligence that keeps you steady when the storm hits. Begin with 3 simple questions you ask yourself each morning or evening. First, what went well yesterday? Celebrate real wins. However microscopic, a sent email that sparked a conversation, an extra mile you ran, a kind word you spoke. Second, what held you back? Call out the friction points without judgment. Maybe back-to-back meetings strained your energy, or you scrolled social media for 30 minutes instead of working on your project. Third, what micro-adjustment will you test today? Commit to a tiny tweak, blocking your inbox for the first hour, standing up every 45 minutes to stretch, or sending a quick follow-up message you've been putting off. Answering these honestly hands you precise pivot points that guide your actions. Tie this practice into an existing routine so that reflection becomes automatic rather than aspirational. The moment your alarm stops, sit up and mentally run through those 3 questions. When water hits the coffee grounds, open your notes app and jot a line for each. Just before lights out, review your reflection and lock in tomorrow's tweak. You don't need candles or incense. 90-second bursts of focused thought are enough to prime your brain for growth. Choose a consistent spot that signals reflection. Maybe the edge of your bed, a quiet park bench on your morning walk, or a desk nook after lunch. Over time, settling into that space triggers insight. Your mind knows it's time to analyze, to keep momentum. Set a timer for up to 3 minutes. Rapidly note your raw responses, then highlight key phrases. Overwhelmed, energized, distracted. These emotional anchors point to deeper themes. Finish by deciding on a micro-action, closing email for 2 hours, scheduling a stretch break, or drafting a brief apology where needed. Then mark your streak on a calendar or habit tracker. Watching your chain grow lights up your brain's reward circuitry and strengthens your commitment. Expect resistance. Your old neural pathways will murmur, "Too busy. Later. Not worth it." When that voice surfaces, gently label it. That's inertia speaking. Other. Then ask, what's the smallest action I can take right now? Often, writing a single word, focus, breathe, adjust, is enough to reignite your momentum. This tiny step breaks the cycle of avoidance and primes you to complete the full reflection ritual. Some mornings, reflection flows slowly, like a glacier inching forward. You might feel stuck in analysis, searching for the right words. Other times, clarity strikes like lightning and you dash to jot down a full paragraph before it fades. Embrace both modes. The glacier lays foundations, and the lightning illuminates new paths. Neither is better or worse. Both are integral to sustained progress. Consider Lena, a software engineer drained by back-to-back meetings and endless bug fixes. Her calendar was full, yet she felt her sense of progress slipping away. One evening, she decided to try a 2-minute reflection on her couch. She noted one success: I resolved a critical issue. And one barrier: I lost focus after lunch. In that simple recap, she spotted a pattern. Her peak problem-solving happened before coffee. The next day, she blocked deep work into the morning slot and cleared her afternoons for meetings. Within 2 weeks, her bug resolution rate doubled, and, more importantly, she felt energized instead of exhausted. That shift came not from a radical change in workflow, but from the insight gained by pausing and reflecting. When you reflect, record not just tasks, but how they landed in your body. Note phrases like, "My chest tightened when I opened my inbox," or "My shoulders relaxed after a quick walk." These physical cues become your early warning system. When tension spikes, you know it's time to pause, breathe, or adjust your schedule before stress spirals. This somatic awareness transforms reflection from a mental exercise into a holistic practice that strengthens mind-body resilience. As your daily reflections stack up, they form a strategic archive. At the end of each week, glance at your entries to spot your best days and recurring obstacles, perhaps email overload every Wednesday, or a slump after midday. Use these insights to redesign your calendar. Schedule critical tasks into your most focused hours, move meetings to lower energy periods, or build in mini breaks where needed. This layered approach takes reflection from mere habit into proactive strategy, aligning your daily actions with long-term goals. You can extend this practice to teams and relationships. In a quick stand-up, or ask each person to share one win and one tweak from their reflection. That 2-minute exchange builds accountability and collective growth. With a partner or friend, swap 2-sentence reflections. Yesterday, I appreciated when you, and today, I'd love if we could. Fostering trust and an environment of open feedback. Reflection becomes not just a solitary habit, but a shared culture that elevates everyone involved. For creative work, use reflection to spark new ideas. Add prompts such as, "What surprised me today?" or "What question keeps nagging at me?" Capture these insights in your reflection log and revisit them when you need fresh inspiration. Over time, that log transforms into an idea garden full of seeds waiting to be nurtured into projects, blog posts, or conversations that matter. When you feel the urge to overthink, "Why am I always?" refocus on, "What one step can I take now?" If perfectionism tempts you to skip your ritual, remember that a messy bullet list is still pure gold. Missing a single day is fine. Missing 2 triggers a reset. Recommit immediately with today's reflection. Reflection isn't a moral test. It's a tool you pick up whenever you need to recalibrate. Celebrate your reflection milestones just as you would stretch goal triumphs. A 7-day streak merits a treat or a 5-minute music break. Recognition programs your brain to associate reflection with pleasure, making the habit feel as rewarding as any accomplishment. This positive reinforcement cements the practice into your identity, and when your day derails, deploy your quick reset protocol. 3 deep breaths, 1 swift sentence per question, and an immediate micro-adjustment. That reset can salvage a spiraling afternoon, realign your momentum, and keep you on track. Over time, you'll rely on this protocol like a mental first aid kit, always at the ready. Now that you've mapped yesterday's terrain, you're perfectly positioned for the next growth lever. Choosing one skill to practice with laser focus, armed with the insights from your reflections, your practice becomes targeted, efficient, and exponentially more effective. You step into each day not uncertain, but informed, equipped to stretch just beyond your comfort zone and grow by design. Take a breath, jot your answers to today's 3 questions, and step forward with the clarity that only reflection can provide. You're learning not by accident, but by intention, and that makes all the difference. You blink against the mid-morning glare, feeling the familiar tug of distraction, emails blinking for attention, tabs multiplying on your browser, the chatter of your own inner critic whispering that you're spread too thin. Yet, amidst the noise, you sense a quiet truth. Real progress doesn't come from scattering effort across 100 fronts. It comes from narrowing your focus to one skill and dedicating yourself to it, day after day. Today, you commit to mastery through consistency, not through frantic multitasking. Imagine yourself standing before a vast mountain of possibilities: coding, writing, public speaking, design, negotiation, language learning. Each path promising growth, but none leading to real depth if you zigzag aimlessly. Now picture a single well-trodden trail climbing that mountain's flank. You step onto that trail, and each day place one foot in front of the other. Even when the incline steepens, the air thins, or doubt creeps in. That's the path of focused practice, and it's the quickest route to true expertise. You don't need to conquer every peak at once. Instead, choose one skill that matters most to your goals and identity. Perhaps you're determined to write more compelling narratives, to lead meetings with confidence, to master the basics of a foreign language, or to craft cleaner, more efficient code. And whatever your skill, the principle is the same. Show up, invest time, and refine your technique with deliberate attention. Over time, the accumulation of these small investments turns into momentum so powerful, you barely recognize the person you were at the starting line. Here's how you translate that vision into your daily life. First, clarify your one skill focus. Spend a few moments this morning asking yourself, which ability, if I improved it steadily, would have the greatest impact on my work, relationships, or sense of self? The answer might be editing your writing to eliminate fluff, speaking up first in meetings to sharpen your voice, mastering a keyboard shortcut that saves you time, or refining your morning routine to boost energy. Write down that skill in a single phrase at the top of your journal or notes app. That phrase becomes your North Star for guiding every practice session. Next, commit to a daily practice window, a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. Block out a specific time on your calendar, 20 minutes before lunch, 15 minutes after dinner, or 30 focused minutes first thing each morning. Treat that block with the same reverence you'd give a client meeting or a doctor's appointment. No exceptions. This structural commitment signals to your brain and to everyone around you that your focused practice is sacred. Then, define a micro-practice routine tailored to your skill. If it's writing, maybe it's free writing 250 words, followed by 10 minutes of editing a previous piece. If it's public speaking, record a 1-minute talk on your phone and critique your tone, pacing, and gestures. If it's coding, pick a small algorithm challenge and work through it methodically. For language learning, you might spend 5 minutes on vocabulary flashcards, then write 3 original sentences using new words. The key is specificity. Each practice session must have a clear, manageable goal and a built-in measure of success. As you engage in your daily practice, use the concept of deliberate practice, not mindless repetition, but targeted effort on the aspects that challenge you most. Notice the points where you stumble, a phrase that doesn't flow, a problem you solve but can't articulate, a pronunciation that still feels awkward. Lean into that friction. That's where growth lives. For example, if you're practicing guitar, you might loop the toughest chord change 20 times slowly until your fingers find the muscle memory. If you're honing sales pitches, you might role-play the most difficult objection with a friend or into a mirror until your response rings true. Record your practice outcomes immediately. Spend a minute at the end of your session jotting down what went well, what felt awkward, and one tweak for tomorrow. That brief reflection anchors each practice in learning. You're not just doing, you're improving. Over weeks, you'll build a log of progress. Those incremental breakthroughs become a roadmap of your journey, reminding you how far you've come and where to focus next. Expect the inevitable plateaus and dips in motivation. There will be mornings when your practice window feels like a prison sentence, or when you convince yourself that skipping today won't hurt. Recognize that resistance as the first sign of meaningful work. Remind yourself, this discomfort is proof of progress. When inertia claws at you, lean on accountability. Share your daily outcomes with a mentor, a friend, or an online community. That external check-in makes it harder to bail out on yourself. To maintain engagement over the long haul, introduce variety within your focus. If you're practicing programming, alternate between algorithm puzzles, code review, and reading a technical article. For writing, rotate between free writing, structured outlines, and reading exemplary authors. Then imitating their style in a short exercise. This mix prevents boredom while ensuring every facet of your skill gets attention. Think of it as cross-training for your mind, different angles of the same core muscle. Importantly, guard against comparisons. It's tempting to scroll social media and see someone else's polished code, viral video, or published article and despair. Remember, you're on your own mountain trail, and theirs is a snapshot of their journey, not your benchmark. Measure yourself against yesterday's version of you. Did you add one more sentence, solve one more problem, dwell one more minute on perfecting your delivery? Those tiny wins are your real indicators of progress. Celebrate those micro-achievements. After every 10 consecutive days of practice, treat yourself to a small reward, a favorite snack, a 20-minute break to read a book, or an episode of a show you love. Those celebrations wire dopamine to your practice habit, making your brain associate focused effort with pleasure. Over time, your mind actually craves the practice session because it knows rewards follow. Consider the story of Miguel, a graphic designer who felt stuck in mediocrity because he bounced between too many projects and design tools. He decided to zero in on mastering Adobe Illustrator's pen tool. Every day and for 20 minutes, he traced complex shapes, leaves, logos, typography, forcing his hand to learn the subtle curves. He recorded his daily output and, after 30 days, looked back at a gallery of sketches that went from wobbly arcs to precise, clean lines. That foundational skill catapulted his confidence, reduced his project turnaround time, and unlocked opportunities to tackle more advanced illustration work. As weeks turned into months, you'll notice compounding results. Practicing your chosen skill daily doesn't just improve that one ability. It transforms your discipline, or your sense of identity, and even spill over into other areas of your life. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who masters complexity through patience and focus. That identity then influences your choices in work, health, relationships. You become the kind of person who does hard things with dedication. Finally, weave this practice into your broader growth strategy. Use your reflection from the previous section to identify which aspect of your skill needs attention today. Then apply the focused practice routine. Seek feedback from experts in your field to refine your technique. Supplement your practice with educational content that deepens your understanding. And nurture a supportive network of peers who share your commitment. In this way, each section of your personal growth plan reinforces the others, creating a cohesive system where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Take a moment now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask, what skill will I focus on today? And what specific action will I take to move it forward? Then open your journal, schedule your practice block, and step onto your path of mastery. One deliberate step at a time. You glance at your work and feel that familiar tug, pride in what you've created, but a nagging sense that it could be sharper, tighter, more resonant. That tug is the whisper of excellence, urging you to expose your efforts to fresh eyes. When you welcome feedback, you transform a solo sketch into a collaborative masterpiece. Today, you trade isolation for insight, because feedback isn't a critique of your worth. It's a mirror reflecting possibilities you can't see on your own. Imagine carving a statue blindfolded. relying only on your fingertips to guide each chisel strike. You might create something passable, but you'll overlook subtle asymmetries and miss opportunities for elegance. Now remove the blindfold and invite a sculptor friend to point out every uneven surface and hidden strength. Their fresh perspective reveals both flaws and facets you'd never noticed. Feedback lifts your blindfold. Think back to the last time someone suggested a single tweak that elevated your work. A colleague pointing out a missing transition in your presentation, a friend flagging a tone that sounded too aggressive, or a mentor noting a logic gap in your argument. That small adjustment often ripples through the entire piece, sharpening your message and boosting your confidence. Multiply that effect across every project, every conversation, and every skill you practice, and you build a compounding engine of improvement. Here's how you turn feedback into growth, day in and day out. First, make seeking input as natural as finishing a first draft. After you write an email, pause and ask, "Could you skim this for clarity?" When you rehearse your pitch, record it and share a link with a peer, adding, "2 things I did well, and 1 area I can strengthen, please." These micro requests lower the barrier to feedback and condition you to see it as a routine rather than a high-stakes event. Next, diversify your feedback sources to capture different angles. A peer at your level catches style and tone. A mentor spots strategic leaps and gaps. An external standard, say a published article or an exemplary talk, serves as a silent reviewer. When you compare your work to these benchmarks, you effectively import their standards into your own practice. For instance, read a TED Talk transcript aloud and note the pacing. Then, record yourself speaking and adjust your pauses to match that rhythm. That exercise gives you outside-in insight to embed feedback deeply. Create a simple rhythm. Complete a chunk of work, then ask one question. What's one thing I can do to make this stronger? Mark it and designate a deadline for the response. Send your request as a calendar invite. Review requested by 5 p.m. today. This formalizes the process and prevents feedback from slipping into the void. When the input arrives, carve out dedicated time, ideally within 24 hours, to apply it, treating the revision session as sacred. Expect the sting of tough insights. Your inner voice will urge you to defend or dismiss, but that voice is the ego's guard dog. When feedback bites, your logic jumps too quickly, your delivery feels flat, or your code isn't modular enough. Label that emotional prick as growth tension. Then focus on the message. Identify the one actionable tweak you can test immediately. Perhaps you'll insert a bridging sentence, vary your vocal inflection, or refactor that function. That single change shifts your entire piece toward clarity and impact. Keep the loop alive by looping back. After you implement a suggestion, share the update and ask, "How does this land now?" That iterative 2-step exchange deepens your learning and trains you to apply feedback more intuitively. Over time, you'll internalize that external perspective, spotting similar issues in your own work before you even ask. Feedback becomes less about correction and more about calibration, a continuous tuning of your skills and output. Notice how feedback accelerates learning. Instead of spending weeks experimenting with trial and error, a quick tip from someone who's been there shortcuts your path. The moment you adopt a recommended best practice, whether a writing structure and coding pattern or presentation framework, you stand on the shoulders of others' experience. That compound effect multiplies your progress, letting you leapfrog beginner pitfalls and move directly into nuanced mastery. Invite feedback not just on finished work, but on your process. Record a screen video of your workflow or outline a decision tree. Then ask, "Where would you pause or add a check here?" This proactive approach surfaces hidden blind spots in your method, not just your output. You'll discover inefficiencies and mindset traps that slow you down. Addressing these systemic issues prevents recurring errors and empowers you to refine your entire approach from the ground up. As you embrace feedback, balance quantity and focus. Too many voices create confusion. Too few risk echo chamber stagnation. Aim for 2 to 3 trusted reviewers per project phase. A peer for stylistic tweaks, a mentor for strategic guidance, and an external standard for benchmarking. Rotate those voices when you need fresh angles, but maintain a core circle to uphold consistency. That balanced ecosystem of input ensures you get diverse insights without drowning in conflicting advice. Celebrate the small victories feedback delivers. When a minor change suggested by a reviewer yields applause during your next presentation or results in cleaner code reviews, pause and acknowledge it. That pointer on my function structure saved hours of refactoring. Mommy, log these feedback wins in your growth journal. They become tangible proof that inviting critique propels you forward, reinforcing the habit and wiring your brain to crave input rather than fear it. Resist the trap of selective listening, only absorbing praise and ignoring the hard truths. Those painful notes often point directly to your growth zones. When feedback stings, breathe through the discomfort, then distill the critique into one clear experiment. Reword that paragraph, rehearse that objection, or write a unit test for that edge case. Each mini experiment deepens your competence. Extend your feedback practice beyond solos. In team stand-ups, start a feedback round where each member shares one thing they did well and one area for improvement. This 2-minute ritual builds psychological safety, trains everyone to give and receive critique gently, and fosters a culture of collective excellence. In personal relationships, swap brief reflections. Yesterday, I appreciated when you, and today, I'd love if we could try. That exchange sharpens communication and builds mutual support. Integrate feedback with the reflection and practice loops you've already mastered. After reflecting on yesterday's outcomes, identify the skill gap you want to close. Practice with laser focus, then seek targeted feedback on that exact element. That interlocking cycle, reflect, practice, feedback, creates a self-reinforcing spiral where each section of your growth plan amplifies the others. To keep the feedback cycle fresh, lean into technology. Use Google Docs comments for collaborative writing, GitHub pull requests for code reviews, Loom videos for asynchronous walkthroughs, or voice memos for rapid A/B comparisons. Tag feedback items as quick wins or strategic tweaks in your task tracker. Then, schedule time to act on them. That digital infrastructure ensures feedback doesn't vanish into email black holes. When resistance surges, I'm not good enough. They don't know my context. Remind yourself that feedback is a gift, not a judgment. Repeat a mantra. Every critique brings me closer to mastery. Let that affirmation pull you through the discomfort. Over time, you'll transform from someone who dreads feedback into someone who seeks it out as an essential growth fuel. Now, think of a current project. Who can you ask for feedback right now? Draft a concise request, identify the work, specify the feedback lens, and set a clear deadline. Send it off before you move to your next task. In doing so, you turn feedback from an afterthought into an immediate priority. Feedback isn't a one-time event. It's the daily practice that sharpens every tool in your growth toolkit. Embrace it, apply it, celebrate it, and watch how your work transforms from good to exceptional before your ears. You sit with your morning coffee, the steam rising in lazy spirals, and your mind flickers through yesterday's conversations, tasks, and minor victories. But today, instead of sliding into familiar headlines or social feeds, you reach for something that feeds your mind, an idea, a perspective, a lesson that stretches your understanding. That simple choice, to read an article, listen to a short video, or absorb a quick lesson, signals a commitment to mental growth. Every day, for as little as 10 minutes, you invest in your intellectual well-being, and those minutes compound into lasting insight. Imagine your brain as a garden. If you water it with the same old information or clickbait headlines, recycled memes, the echo chamber of opinions, you stunt its growth. But when you funnel fresh, high-quality content, thought-provoking essays, concise tutorials, compelling documentaries, you nourish new neural pathways. Those pathways blossom into sharper problem-solving, broader empathy, and a keener ability to connect dots others miss. You don't need hours to transform your cognitive landscape. Even 10 uninterrupted minutes of focused learning can shift your mindset. Maybe you read a short article on negotiation tactics that prompts you to reconsider your next meeting approach. Perhaps you watch a 5-minute animated explainer on a scientific concept that reframes your understanding of cause and effect. Or you listen to a 3-minute spoken word breakdown of a historical event that casts your own challenges in a new light. These daily micro-inputs accumulate, rewiring your brain toward continuous improvement. Start by choosing content that aligns with your goals and stokes your curiosity. If you're building leadership skills, subscribe to a concise podcast on team dynamics. If you're honing your technical expertise, bookmark a quick tutorial on a relevant tool. If you want to expand your worldview, follow a short documentary series on a culture you know little about. The key is relevance and intrigue. The moment you sense that spark of, I want to know more, you know you found your daily learning seed. Make it ritual. Attach your learning to a consistent anchor. It might be the moment you pour your first cup of tea, the commute into work, or a short break after lunch. Set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes and dive in without multitasking. Close extra tabs. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, or slip on noise-canceling earbuds. This focused attention ensures the content truly lands, rather than bouncing off the armor of distraction. As you consume, don't passively scroll. Engage actively. Highlight one sentence that challenges your assumption. Jot a quick note on how you'll apply a new technique. Or pause the video to articulate the core insight in your own words. This active processing transforms fleeting information into lasting knowledge. For instance, if you learn mnemonic for remembering complex equations, pause and try reciting it. If you discover a novel brainstorming method, sketch a quick mind map of how you might use it in your next project. Expect some days to feel tougher than others. You might drag your feet, convinced there's not enough time or that you're too tired. That's precisely when you need the brain's nourishment most. On those days, shorten the session. 5 minutes of learning beats 0. Or switch formats. A brief podcast episode rather than a dense article, or a picture-rich explainer instead of a text-heavy blog. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Notice the ripple effects throughout your day. After reading about effective communication, you frame your next email with an opening question. After watching a snippet on growth mindset, you catch yourself praising effort in a team call. After listening to a historical anecdote, you spot parallels in your own challenges and respond with more perspective. These micro-applications reinforce the learning and make each day's lesson more relevant to avoid unintentional drift back to comfort. Curate your sources ahead of time. Create a small learning playlist in your podcast app or bookmark folder of 5 go-to websites. Over time, you'll build a personalized library of high-impact content. Rotate new entries in and out monthly to keep the material fresh and prevent stale repetition. Engage socially by sharing insights with others. After reading a compelling article, drop a one-sentence takeaway in your team chat or tag a friend who'd benefit. Teaching or recommending content not only solidifies your understanding, but also fosters a culture of learning around you. You become both student and ambassador, amplifying the habit's impact. Track your learning streak. Mark each day on your habit calendar when you complete your learning session. Seeing a chain of check marks grows your intrinsic motivation to avoid breaking the streak. On day 10, you might reward yourself with a new book. By day 30, you'll rediscover the joy of daily discovery. Integrate reflection from section 2. At the end of your reflection ritual, add a quick note on what you learned today. Read 7-minute article on cognitive bias. Realized I default to confirmation. Then, in your micro-practice from section 3, apply one concept. In tomorrow's meeting, I'll question my assumptions before decision-making. This interlock, reflect, learn, practice, creates a seamless growth engine. Beware of just for fun rabbit holes that masquerade as learning. If a video is entertaining but offers no new perspective or actionable insight, categorize it as recreation, not education. Balance your intake. Ensure at least 70% of your daily media is intentionally educational. The rest can be leisure. But don't let fun crowd out growth unless it's part of a deliberate, unwinding strategy. Celebrate your evolving expertise. After mastering a new concept, say a productivity hack that saves you 15 minutes daily, or a communication framework that improves clarity, acknowledge it. Share with your accountability partner, or jot it into your growth journal. These celebrations remind you that the habit pays off, keeping you engaged for the long haul. Consider the story of Annika, a marketer who struggled to keep up with rapid platform changes. She committed to 10 minutes of industry-focused reading each morning, alternating between new algorithm updates, successful campaign case studies, and analytic techniques. Within 6 weeks, her campaigns noticeably outperformed benchmarks, and she gained confidence to lead a training session. Her consistent learning habit made her not only more knowledgeable but also more proactive and respected. Finally, extend your learning into tangible projects. After mastering a new design tip, apply it to a side project or personal blog. When you grasp a coding pattern, implement it in a small, self-directed script. These real-world applications solidify the lesson and create a portfolio of evidence of your growth. Take a moment now. Choose one piece of educational content, no more than 10 minutes long, that intrigues you. Schedule that session immediately, set your timer, and dive in. When the timer pings, jot one actionable insight and declare how you'll use it today. By committing to this simple ritual, you're not just filling your mind, you're forging the path to lifelong growth. You step into your day and immediately feel the pull of your social gravity, the people you chat with over coffee, the colleagues you pass in the hallway, the group texts that ping through your pockets. Those connections shape more than your schedule. They shape your mindset, your aspirations, your sense of what's possible. Today, you clean your social lens, choosing to surround yourself with those who spark your ambition, challenge your complacency, and illuminate fresh perspectives. Because no matter how disciplined you become or how clear your goals are, if your tribe whispers, "Stay safe," you'll stay small. Think of your social circle as the water in your personal well. If you draw from a stagnant pool, complaints, excuses, small thinking, you'll never quench your thirst for growth. But if you source from a clear, rushing stream, ambitious peers, curious learners, resilient mentors, you'll drink in motivation, ideas, and a vision of what you can achieve. That's why choosing the right company isn't optional, it's foundational. You don't need a squad of superheroes. You need a handful of genuine believers who nudge you beyond your comfort zone. Ask yourself, who magnifies my energy? Who mirrors my potential? Who ignites my best thinking? These are the people you want in your daily orbit. They're the ones who ask hard questions. Are you sure that goal is big enough? Not to mock you, but to stretch your limits. They celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and they challenge you when you settle for mediocrity. Start by auditing your time. For the next few days, track who you interact with and how each interaction leaves you feeling. Does the conversation energize you or drain you? Do you leave inspired to act or eager to zone out? Be ruthless with this kind of emotional accounting. If a relationship consistently siphons your energy, it's time to recalibrate your proximity. Next, cultivate high-impact relationships intentionally. Identify 2 or 3 key number people who exemplify the qualities you admire: resilience, creativity, being, discipline, empathy, and reach out. Invite them for a 15-minute coffee chat, a quick video call, or even a brief email exchange. Frame the request around curiosity. I've been working on X. Could I get your perspective on one challenge? Most people appreciate being asked for their insight, especially when it's genuine. These focused interactions plant the seeds for deeper mentorship or peer partnership. Now, amplify your network by joining communities where growth-minded people gather. It might be a professional association, a mastermind group, an online forum, or a local meetup. When you enter a space where everyone is striving to level up, you automatically raise your own bar. You absorb others' best practices. You catch glimpses of new possibilities. And you discover that your challenges aren't unique. They're shared milestones on the journey to improvement. But don't mistake mere membership for community. A passive presence, lurking in groups without contributing, yields little reward. Engage actively. Comment on posts. Share your learnings. Ask thoughtful questions. And offer your own support. That reciprocal energy cements your place in the group and transforms you from a consumer of insights into a contributor. When you voice your experiments and your breakthroughs, you not only refine your own understanding, but also inspire others to do the same. As you build these connections, pay attention to the dynamics of accountability. People who care about your progress will ask, "How did that goal go?" Or, "Have you tried that new habit yet?" They follow up because they believe in your potential. And that follow-through pulls you toward it follow-through yourself. Consider pairing up with an accountability partner, someone with a similar growth goal or a complementary skill set. Schedule a weekly check-in where you share your wins, your struggles, and your next steps. That regular rhythm provides both support and gentle pressure to stay on track. You'll also benefit from mentors, people who've traveled roads similar to yours, but further ahead. A mentor's guidance accelerates your learning curve and helps you navigate pitfalls you haven't yet encountered. Seek out mentors in your field by attending industry events, requesting introductions from mutual contacts, or reaching out on professional platforms. When you approach a potential mentor, be specific and respectful. I admire your journey from A to B. Could we schedule a 20-minute conversation so I can ask about X, Y, and Z? Even if their time is limited, their insights will be disproportionately valuable. At the same time, remember to give back. Great relationships are two-way streets. When a peer or mentee asks for your perspective, step into the role of guide. Offer candid feedback, share resources, and celebrate their progress. Teaching others not only reinforces your own knowledge, but also expands your empathy and communication skills, qualities that fuel your ongoing growth. expect resistance as you elevate your circle. Some old friends may feel threatened by your shift, their own ambitions dimmed in the glow of your newfound momentum. They might say, "You're changing," or "Why are you always so intense?" Use those reactions as signals. You're outgrowing certain dynamics, and that's natural. You don't have to sever ties abruptly, but you can create healthy boundaries, limit the frequency of interactions, redirect conversations toward growth topics, or invite those friends to join you in a new habit. True supporters will adapt. Those who can't may simply drift away as you become the person you're meant to be. Equally important is the power of diversity. Your circle should include people from different backgrounds, industries, and life stages. A software developer's problem-solving approach might inspire your project management. A musician's creative process might open doors in your marketing strategy. When you welcome a tapestry of perspectives, you break free from echo chambers and cultivate mental agility. Diversity fuels creativity because it forces you to see multiple angles, generating solutions you'd never find alone. To keep your circle vibrant, schedule periodic circle check-ins. Every quarter, reflect on these questions. Who energizes me? Who sinks my spirits? Who have I been meaning to reach out to but haven't? What new communities could I explore? Use your answers to prune stale relationships and sow new connections. This ongoing tuning ensures your circle remains a catalytic force in your growth, not a static relic of your comfort past. Bring your circle into your habits. For example, start a growth reading club with 2 friends. Pick a weekly article or podcast episode. Then meet for 15 minutes to discuss key takeaways and action steps. Or launch a micro-workshop group where each person presents one challenge and the group collaboratively brainstorms solutions. These shared rituals strengthen bonds and make growth social rather than solitary. As you lean on your circle, remember that accountability sometimes requires tough love. When someone offers a blunt assessment, "I noticed you skipped your practice sessions last week," don't shrink. Lean in. That direct feedback may sting, but it's the friction that polishes you. Embrace it as a gift. Over time, you'll cultivate a culture within your circle where honesty is valued over comfort, and collective progress trumps individual ego. Celebrating together multiplies the joy of achievement. When you hit a milestone, a promotion, a completed project, a personal breakthrough, invite your circle to a quick call or group text. Share what you learned, acknowledge their role in your success, and take a moment to appreciate how far you've come together. Those shared high fives strengthen the communal bond and reinforce the message that growth is not a solo journey, but a shared adventure. Finally, weave your circle into the broader tapestry of your personal growth plan. After you reflect, practice, seek feedback, and feed your mind, turn to your circle for fresh input. Ask, how does this new skill or insight land for you? Then, when you're ready to stretch again, lean on them to test your next experiment. With each section of your plan, be it reflection, skill practice, feedback, learning, or health, your stimulating circle magnifies the impact, turning isolated efforts into a dynamic ecosystem of progress. Take a moment now. Reach out to one person in your circle with a quick message of appreciation, or invite someone new on to share a growth conversation. That small social step signals your commitment to collective excellence and activates the powerful current of mutual support. You wake to the chime of your alarm, eyes heavy but mind already spinning through your tasks for the day. Emails, meetings, deadlines. You reach for your phone and hesitate. Today, before everything else, you honor the vessel that carries you through every challenge. Your body, sleep, nutrition, and movement are not nice to haves. They are the vital foundations that power your clarity, your stamina, and your resilience. Without them, every goal feels heavier, every decision fuzzier, every day a slog rather than a stride. Imagine your body as a high-performance car. You wouldn't pour low-octane fuel into a racing engine or skip an oil change before a big race. You'd give it premium gas, fresh oil, and a thorough tune-up. Your body deserves the same respect. When you prioritize proper sleep, balanced nutrition, and consistent exercise, you're not indulging. It's the most pragmatic investment in your personal growth. Start with sleep, the often neglected pillar of performance. Recall the last morning you dragged through your routine, coffee cups mounting, focus evaporating, patience fraying by midday. That fog isn't a badge of honor, it's a sign your tank is empty. Quality sleep clears cognitive cobwebs, cements memories, regulates mood, and restores your body's systems. Tonight, treat your bedroom like a sanctuary. 2 hours before bedtime, dim the lights, switch off blue light screens, and silence notifications. Replace screen time with a short, reflective journal entry, a rinse for your mind, or a few pages of a calming book. Set a consistent bedtime and wake time, even on weekends. Your circadian rhythm thrives on routine. Over time, you'll notice falling asleep faster, waking more refreshed, and greeting mornings with focus rather than fog. Next, feed your body the fuel it craves, balanced nutrition. Picture your cells as workers in a factory, each needing the right materials to build muscle, repair tissue, and produce energy. When you fill up on processed snacks and sugary drinks, you starve those cells. Instead, aim for meals that combine protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. A breakfast of scrambled eggs with spinach and a slice of whole grain toast powers your brain and muscles. A mid-morning snack of nuts and fruit sustains your energy. Lunch might be grilled chicken over quinoa and colorful vegetables. Each bite becomes a deposit in your energy bank. Stay vigilant against the midday slump. If you've ever felt that 2 p.m.'s crash, sudden fatigue, fuzzy thinking, irritability, it's often a sign of a blood sugar roller coaster. Pair your carbs with protein and fiber to slow digestion and prolong energy release. Swap soda for water or herbal tea to maintain hydration. Your brain needs fluid to function optimally. A simple rule: aim for half your body weight in ounces of water daily, adjusting upward if you sweat or work in a dry environment. Movement is the third essential pillar. Think of exercise as the spark that ignites your body's energy reserves and fires up your focus. You don't need a marathon to feel the benefits. Short, consistent sessions deliver massive returns. A 20-minute walk in the morning kickstarts your circulation and mental clarity. A few bodyweight squats, lunges, and push-ups at your desk break the cycle of sedentary fatigue and stimulate blood flow to your brain. If you crave structure, schedule 3 weekly workouts, perhaps a brisk jog, a yoga session, and a strength training circuit. On off days, weave movement into your routine. Take the stairs, stand for phone calls, stretch during breaks. Each micro movement adds up. Over weeks, your posture improves, energy peaks higher, and resistance to stress builds. Expect resistance. The mind protests when comfort is threatened. When the alarm nudges you out of bed, or you reach for that second cookie, you'll hear an inner voice whisper, "Come on, just 5 more minutes," or "It's too much work." Label that voice inertia. It's wired to keep you safe, not maximize your potential. Acknowledge the resistance with curiosity. Inertia again. What tiny action can I take right now? Maybe you'll set out your workout clothes before sleep, or prep a healthy lunch the night before. Small steps break the inertia and build momentum. Track your sleep, nutrition, and movement as you would any other habit. Use a simple app or a journal table. Note bedtime and wake time. Record your main meals and snacks. Check off completed workouts. Watching your streak grow day by day of quality sleep, balanced eats, and daily movement releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, reinforcing the habit loop. Let's bring these pillars together in a day in the life scenario. You wake at 6 a.m. Idu, sliding out of bed after 7 solid hours of sleep. You sip a glass of water, then stretch for 2 minutes, reaching tall and bending low to wake your muscles. You sit at your desk and outline your day, building in a 10-minute walk break every 2 hours. At 7 a.m., you enjoy Greek yogurt topped with berries and a sprinkle of granola. It's protein, fiber, and a bit of healthy carbs. A perfect trifecta. By today, a.m. your energy dips. Instead of reaching for a sugary coffee drink, you dunk a tea bag in hot water and eat a handful of almonds. The caffeine kick from tea is gentler, and the fat-protein combo stabilizes your blood sugar. When the afternoon slump hits around 2 p.m., you follow through on your plan. You stand and perform a quick desk circuit, 2 sets of squats, shoulder rolls, and calf raises. Then walk to the kitchen for a tall glass of water. That micro break resets your body and mind. After work, you slip into your sneakers for a 30-minute jog or a brisk bike ride. The rhythm of movement clears your head and washes away residual stress. You notice your thoughts settle. You might even brainstorm solutions to a problem that felt unsolvable at your desk. You return home and prepare a balanced dinner: salmon, sweet potato, and steamed broccoli. Each nutrient works in harmony to rebuild muscle, support brain function, and prepare you for another night of restorative sleep. As evening falls, you honor your wind-down ritual. Screens off 90 minutes before bed, a warm shower or gentle stretching, and 5 minutes of journaling. You reflect on your day's growth, how nourishing sleep, intention-driven meals, and purposeful movement fueled your focus, and you set your sleep goal for tomorrow. That final ritual cements the habit, promising your brain and body that rest is imminent. Over time, these 3 pillars, sleep, nutrition, brute, and an exercise, interlock like gears in a well-oiled machine. Your cognitive horsepower surges, your physical resilience strengthens, and your emotional balance deepens. Tasks that once felt taxing become manageable. Creative ideas flow more freely. You bounce back from setbacks faster because your foundational health carries you through. Celebrate your health victories. A week of 8-hour sleeps, a month of consistent lunches you prepared yourself, or a streak of daily movement. Each milestone deserves recognition. Treat yourself to a new workout playlist, a cozy throw for your bed, or a healthy cooking class. These rewards keep the habit cycle vibrant and fun. When you prioritize health as the foundation of your growth plan, you transform daily self-improvement from an uphill battle into a flow state where mind, body, and ambition align. You're no longer fighting exhaustion or hunger or stiffness. You're harnessing optimal energy to learn, practice, reflect, and connect with your circle. Take a moment now. Plan your sleep tonight. Decide on a bedtime. Dim the lights, and pledge to tuck that phone away. Sketch your meals for tomorrow, aiming for nutrient balance, and schedule a brief movement break. Block the time on your calendar and set an alert. By taking these small but deliberate steps, you invest in the most crucial resource you have. You glance at your day's to-do list and feel the familiar churn of ambition. Goals abound, energy high, vision clear. but without a way to see how far you've truly come. All that drive risks dissipating into the ether of what's next. Tracking your progress and celebrating even the smallest victories is the rocket fuel that keeps you moving, providing concrete evidence that your daily efforts aren't in vain, but are building towards something extraordinary. Imagine climbing a steep trail without ever looking down. You press on, muscles burning, heart pounding, but you never glimpse the ground you've covered. Tracking your steps allows you to pause, turn around, and say, "Look at that view." And that moment of recognition refuels you to tackle the next switchback. In your journey of self-improvement, tracking creates that vantage point. Start with a simple system you'll actually use. Grab a notebook, open a notes app, or set up a habit tracking spreadsheet. Create a table or list with today's date in one column and your key action, your stretch goal, reflection, focused practice, feedback session, learning time, social connection, health milestone, in another column. At the end of the day, check off whether you completed each action. That checkbox is more than a mark. It's a micro victory you can see. Don't stop at done or not done. Add a third column, outcome. Briefly note the result, positive or negative. For example, completed 15-minute jog, felt energized, or skipped reflection, felt scattered. Recording outcomes sharpens your insights, turning raw data into actionable intelligence. Over time, you'll spot patterns. Your best days follow solid sleep and a reflective morning. The days you skip learning sessions coincide with afternoon slumps. Consistency is key. Tracking only sporadically yields a fragmented picture, missing links in the data chain. Build a nightly ritual. Right after you reflect, Section 2. Open your tracker and fill in that day's entries. Treat it like brushing your teeth. Non-negotiable. If you dread opening the app or notebook, make it fun. Use colorful pens, satisfying checkmark stickers, or a habit tracker app with animated streaks. The more pleasurable the act, the more likely you'll stick with it. Expect some initial resistance. Your inner voice may smirk. Do you really need to track every little thing? But tracking is not about perfectionism. It's about creating honest visibility. Label that resistance. That's inertia talking. Then ask, what's one way to make this easier? If filling in a grid feels tedious, shift to a voice memo. Speak your check-ins aloud. If a digital app feels sterile, sketch a quick progress bar in your journal. Find the format that feels intuitive and rewarding. Now let's talk celebration. Because tracking without celebration is like planting seeds and never watering them. Each completed checkmark deserves acknowledgement. Build celebration into your system. Decide on mini rewards that align with your values. For instance, after 5 straight days of hitting your micro-practice goal, treat yourself to a specialty coffee or a 10-minute stretch break with music. After a 2-week streak of healthy meals, buy a new cookbook or cook a favorite nourishing recipe. These small treats wire dopamine to your tracking habit, turning it into a positive feedback loop. Celebrate even partial wins. If you aimed for 10 minutes of reading, but only managed 5, acknowledge the effort. Half the time is better than none. Then plan to make up the other 5 minutes the next day. This mindset shift prevents discouragement and keeps your momentum rolling. To deepen your insights, move beyond linear tracking and introduce trend analysis. At the end of each week, glance at your daily logs and answer 3 questions. Wonder 1, what was my biggest win this week? 2, where did I struggle most? 3, what one adjustment will I make next week? Jot your answers at the bottom of your tracker or in a dedicated weekly review section. That process transforms daily checklists into strategic planning, linking micro actions to macro goals. At month's end, conduct a 1-month summary. Create a simple chart, bars or dots, showing how many days you completed each core habit. You might see that you tracked sleep 6 out of 7 nights, practiced your skill 12 out of 30 days, or held feedback sessions 3 times this month. Visualizing these totals gives you a clear picture of where you're strongest and where you need to shore up consistency. For those who love community, share your progress wins with your circle. Section 6. Post a weekly wins update in your accountability group or tag a friend with your tracker screenshot. Celebrating publicly amplifies your sense of achievement and invites positive reinforcement from others. It also inspires peers to share their successes, creating a ripple effect of encouragement. Make your tracking system evolve with you. If you notice a habit slipping into irrelevance or a new priority emerging, adjust the columns in your tracker. For example, if you master one skill to the point of comfort, swap that column for a fresh learning objective. Tracking should reflect your current growth trajectory, not remain static. Integrate technology wisely. Habit tracking apps like Streaks, Habitica, or even simple spreadsheet templates can automate reminders and visualize streaks. Some apps gamify the process, earning points or unlocking badges, adding a playful element to your tracking. If you prefer analog, consider a bullet journal with a habit tracker grid, where you color in squares for each completed habit. The visual of a fully colored grid is deeply satisfying and motivating. To avoid data overload, limit your tracked habits to your top 5 to 7 priorities. Trying to track dozens of micro habits dilutes focus and leads to burnout. If you have more than 7 items, group related habits under broader categories, e.g. health covers sleep, nutrition, movement, growth covers learning, reflection, feedback. That way, each category's progress still shows your overall momentum without overwhelming detail. Tracking your progress also deepens your self-awareness. When you consistently record not just actions, but outcomes and feelings, you build an internal feedback loop. Act, track, reflect, adjust. This cycle strengthens your metacognition, your ability to think about your thinking. You start noticing early warning signs. A drop in your tracking consistency often signals underlying stress or shift in priorities. Rather than ignoring those signals, you address them, maybe by dialing back certain commitments or adding a stress management habit. Celebrate your cumulative achievements at key milestones. Choose quarterly, big win ceremonies. Review 90 days of tracking data. Identify your top 3 breakthroughs and reward yourself with a substantial treat. A weekend getaway, a professional course, or a new tool that supports your growth. These milestone celebrations honor your long-term commitment and reset your motivation for the next quarter. Remember the story of Javier, who struggled to maintain his study habits while juggling work and family. He started tracking just 2 habits, 30 minutes of language practice and his reflection journal. He stuck with it for 3 weeks, checking in nightly and celebrating small wins with a 5-minute dance break. By week 4, the habits had stuck. He no longer needed reminders. 6 months later, he conversed confidently in his new language, attributing his fluency to the simple, consistent act of tracking and celebrating each micro victory. Tracking also shines a light on your why. On days when motivation flags, reviewing your tracker reveals the progress you've already made, proof that your actions matter. Those visual streaks become your personal rallying cry. You can't break the chain because you've invested too much to stop now. Finally, weave your tracking habit into the tapestry of all your growth strategies. After reflecting, choose your focused practice. Seek feedback. Feed your mind. Connect with your circle. Prioritize health. Then track it all. At day's end, honor each check mark. Celebrate your wins and plan tomorrow's actions. This holistic cycle transforms your personal growth journey from a scattered quest into a symphony of intentional progress. Take out your tracker now and fill in today's entries. Check off each habit you've completed. Note one outcome. And choose a celebratory micro-reward. As you seal today's log, feel the satisfaction of visible progress. And let that feeling propel you confidently into tomorrow. You catch yourself in the mirror, noticing the tension in your jaw, the tightness around your eyes, and the half-formed thought gnawing at your mind. I'm not enough. That inner voice, the relentless critic inside your own head, wields more power over your actions than any external obstacle. Today, you swap that critic for a coach, replacing negative self-talk with affirmations that fuel confidence, resilience, and relentless forward motion. Picture your mind as a stage, and the voice in your head says the lead performer. If that performer is stuck in a loop of criticism, you always mess up. You're too slow. You'll never make it. Then the entire production flops. But when you cast an empowering voice, I learn and improve. I embrace challenges. I am capable of growth. The show gains energy, and you step into the spotlight with conviction. Start listening in on your self-talk. Throughout your day, catch the rude or discouraging messages before they settle in your subconscious. This is too hard. I'm behind. I don't deserve success. Label them for what they are. Automatic negative retensementes, and decide to change the channel. Here's a simple practice. Set a reminder on your phone that buzzes once every 2 hours with the prompt. What are you saying to yourself right now? Pause, note the thought, and rewrite it into a positive affirmation. If your phone isn't handy, develop a mental trigger. Touch your ring finger and thumb together to interrupt the current thought and replace it with a kinder message. Craft your affirmations carefully. They should be personal, positive, and present tense. Avoid I will and I should, which dwell in the future or demand action. Instead, use I am statements that anchor you in the moment. I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to. I embrace mistakes as stepping stones to mastery. I trust my intuition to guide impactful decisions. Write 3 to 5 affirmations on index cards and place them where you'll see them. On your bathroom mirror, next to your laptop, taped to the fridge door. Each time you glimpse an affirmation, read it aloud with energy and conviction, as if rallying a champion army. The vocal emphasis jumps the affirmation from passive and mental chatter to deep to active, embodied belief. When you encounter a setback, stalled progress on a project, a harsh piece of feedback, or simply a rough morning, use affirmations as an anchor. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, Miki, and repeat, I learn and grow from every experience. I have overcome challenges before, and I will overcome this one. Every small step is a victory. Feel each word resonate in your chest, filling you with calm resolve. Combine affirmations with visualization to supercharge their effect. As you repeat, I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to. Close your eyes and picture yourself confidently mastering that skill, typing at lightning speed, speaking fluently in a new language, delivering a flawless presentation. Visualization turns words into mental rehearsals, priming your subconscious to take aligned action. Integrate affirmations into your daily routine by anchoring them to habit triggers. For instance, after brushing your teeth, say each affirmation once. During your morning coffee, Repeat them in rhythm with sips, a line per sip, before bed. Read them softly, letting them sink into your dreams. Over time, these affirmations become automatic responses that counteract the default critical loop. Recognize that some deep-seated negative beliefs resist simple affirmations, particularly if they clash sharply with your self-image. If "I am worthy of success" feels painfully untrue, start with a less charged version: "I am open to the possibility of success," or "I am learning how to be worthy." Gradually, as you internalize these gentler affirmations, you can strengthen them into full "I am" statements. To deepen the practice, journal about each affirmation once a week. Write down how you felt before using it, what shifts you noticed afterward, and any specific moments when it guided your actions. This reflective process not only cements the belief, but also uncovers patterns. Perhaps you need different affirmations to tackle stubborn fears around public speaking versus imposter syndrome at work. Pair affirmations with action to avoid them becoming hollow phrases. When you say "I embrace mistakes as stepping stones," immediately identify a recent mistake and note one lesson you've drawn from it. If your affirmation is "I trust my intuition to guide impactful decisions," recall a moment you listened to your gut and it led to a positive outcome. Anchoring affirmations to real-world evidence builds credibility in your mind. Amplify the impact by sharing affirmations with your circle. In your next peer check-in, encourage each other to share a favorite affirmation and describe how it's influencing your growth. Saying, "I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to" in a group not only reinforces your own belief, but also plants that seed in others' minds. Collective affirmation practices can become powerful rituals. Perhaps at the start of a weekly team meeting, everyone declares one personal "I am" statement. Combat the tendency to judge affirmations as corny or ineffective. If you find yourself rolling your eyes, pause and ask why. Often, that skepticism masks vulnerability. If I say this, I feel like a fraud. Acknowledge the discomfort with a new affirmation. I allow myself to feel uneasy when I challenge old beliefs. Use that new affirmation to ease into the next, breaking down defense mechanisms. For more immersive practice, record your affirmations as an audio track and play it during quiet moments, on your commute, during a walk, or as you drift to sleep. Hearing your own voice speak positive truths bypasses the critical filter that often dismisses silent affirmations. Over time, your brain learns to accept the recorded truths instead of rejecting them. In moments of acute stress, just before a big presentation, during a challenging conversation, or when you feel self-doubt creeping in, deploy a 3-breath affirmation reset. Inhale once while thinking, "I am here." Exhale, inhale. Capable of growth, exhale, inhale. And ready for this, exhale. These pauses break the stress reflex. Center your focus and reaffirm your strengths. Recognize that cultivating positive self-talk is a long-term commitment, not a one-and-done fix. You'll have days when old criticisms surge back. When that happens, return to the basics. Catch the thought, label it, negative self-talk, and replace it immediately with an affirmation you've practiced. The more you interrupt negative loops, the weaker they become, and the stronger your affirmations grow. Measure the impact by observing your behaviors and mood. Are you raising your hand in meetings more often after "I trust my voice"? Do you feel less paralyzed before tackling a tough task after "I learn and improve from every challenge"? Track these shifts as part of your broader growth journal. Affirmations are one tool among many, and their effectiveness shows up in your willingness to act. Finally, weave affirmations into the larger tapestry of your growth plan. After you reflect on yesterday, practice your chosen skill, seek feedback, learn something new, connect with your circle, prioritize health, track progress, stop to affirm your inherent capability. Let your affirmations charge each action with purpose. When you feel yourself falter, return to the fundamental truth you've chosen to internalize and let it guide you back to steady ground. Take a moment now. Identify the top 3 negative thoughts you hear most often. For each, craft a personal, present tense affirmation. Write them down and speak them aloud. Feel the shift as you do. With that simple act, you begin to transform the conversation in your head from critique to championing, setting the stage for unstoppable progress. Your mind buzzes with ideas and intentions, a killer outline for your next presentation, a plan to finally launch that side project, a mental to-do list bursting with possibilities. Yet all too often, intentions dissolve into tomorrow's promises, bright visions that never see the light of day. Today, you bridge the gap between thinking and doing. Because consistent action, not lofty plans, turns dreams into reality. Your next breakthrough waits on the other side of just one more step. Picture a ship anchored in a harbor. Intentions are the sails you unfurl, catching the wind of inspiration. But without the rudder of action, you never leave the dock. Action is the steady row or the engine's hum that propels you forward. No amount of dreaming will carry you across the ocean. It's each measured stroke in the water that inches you closer to your destination. You don't need grand gestures to move the needle. Small but purposeful actions, when repeated, yield seismic change. Think of each day as a ledger. You deposit minutes of effort into your growth account, and over time that balance compounds. A 10-minute writing sprint, a 5-minute run, a single call to a mentor, a brief reflection. Each action, tiny though it may seem, is a brick in the foundation of your success. To activate this habit, start with clarity. Each morning, review your top goal for the day, the one action that, if completed, moves you meaningfully closer to your larger vision. Write it down in a single sentence. Today, I will draft the first 3 paragraphs of my article. Or today, I will research one new marketing strategy and outline its application. That clarity narrows your focus and transforms vague ambition into a concrete task. Next, schedule that action into your calendar as a non-negotiable appointment. If you don't schedule, it won't happen. Block a window, 20 minutes at 9 a.m., 15 minutes after lunch, or half an hour at day's end, and name it explicitly. Write article draft or research marketing strategy. Treat that block with the same seriousness you'd assign a client meeting or a dentist appointment. When the time arrives, honor the commitment. When resistance knocks, I'm not in the mood. What if it's not good enough? I don't have time. Label it as the ego's defense mechanism keeping you in comfort. Then lean into action with the 2-minute rule. Promise yourself you'll work on the task for just 2 minutes. Often, beginning is the hardest part. Once you start, momentum carries you forward, and those 2 minutes stretch into 20 or more. That initial push breaks the inertia. As you engage in your daily action block, eliminate distractions ruthlessly. Put your phone on airplane mode or in another room. Close extraneous browser tabs. Use noise-canceling headphones or play focus music. Create the conditions for deep work. This dedicated environment signals to your brain that it's time to perform, heightening your ability to concentrate and complete the task efficiently. After your action block ends, pause to document the outcome. Spend 2 minutes noting what you accomplished and how you felt: energized, challenged, frustrated, or proud. That quick reflection links action to insight, reinforcing the habit loop. Action, reflection, adjustment. Over time, you'll build an actionable record of progress, and the psychological reward of checking off completed actions fuels your motivation. Expect fluctuations in energy and motivation. Some days you'll attack your task with gusto, other days you'll slog through. That's normal. The discipline of consistent action isn't about feeling inspired every morning. It's about showing up whether you feel like it or not. On low energy days, lean on micro actions. Commit to a 5-minute sprint instead of a 20-minute session. Even that small step preserves your streak and upholds your identity, someone who follows through. To deepen commitment, weave accountability into your action habit. Share your daily intention with a partner, peer group, or coach. This morning, I'm writing the intro to my article. Text me when you're done. That external check-in adds gentle pressure to honor your word, making it harder to bail out. Celebrate together when you succeed, and troubleshoot if you miss. Addressing obstacles fosters learning rather than blame. As you accumulate daily actions, resist the urge to chase novelty at every turn. Focus builds mastery, rather than jumping to a new project midweek. Finish what you started, then plan your next action. That completion habit fosters a sense of closure and progress. Nothing kills momentum faster than a pile of half-finished tasks. Sweep them off your desk one by one. Each completion a tangible win. Integrate this action mindset into all areas of your growth plan. After reflecting on yesterday, Section 2. Choose your skill to practice, Section 3. Seek feedback, Section 4. Feed your mind, Section 5 or Manav. Connect with your circle, Section 6. And prioritize health, Section 7. Then take one definitive action on each front. Track these actions, Section 8. And reinforce your self-talk, Section 9, to ensure every intention transforms into a deliberate step forward. Consider the story of Alex, who spent years planning his novel but never wrote more than a page. He instituted a daily action habit. 300 words at 7 a.m. Sharp. No exceptions. His email was off, his phone was silent, and his pen met paper every morning like clockwork. The first week, the words felt awkward. By week 4, he had 4,000 words. 6 months later, he completed his first draft. That manuscript exists because he turned intention into uncompromising action. To sustain this practice, introduce periodic action audits. Once a month, review your calendar and action log. Ask, which days did I hit my commitments? Which days did I skip? What patterns emerge? Use those insights to adjust scheduling, tackle recurring barriers, or refine how you phrase your daily intentions. This feedback loop sharpens your action strategy and keeps you aligned with your larger goals. Celebrate the habit of action itself. Beyond project milestones, honor your identity as someone who does. When you miss a day, avoid self-criticism. Acknowledge the lapse. Note why it happened, and recommit immediately. That act of recommitment reinforces your resilience and reinforces the truth that consistency, not perfection, defines success. Finally, remember that every moment offers an opportunity to act. Between meetings, in line at the coffee shop, or during a brief pause, those pockets of time can host micro-actions, responding to an email, jotting a quick outline, sending a feedback request, or doing a few stretches. Treat every gap as potential fuel for progress, not downtime to fritter away. Take a moment now. Identify your top intention for tomorrow. Write it down in a single sentence and schedule it into your calendar. Set your timer for 2 minutes tonight to prepare. Gather your materials, clear your workspace, and at the appointed hour, dive in. By intentionally converting intention into action day after day, you prove to yourself that progress isn't a matter of luck or motivation, but the cumulative effect of simple, decisive steps. You sit at your desk, coffee in hand, eyes darting between emails, project briefs, and a calendar so packed it feels like a maze. Time, that precious commodity, slips through your fingers faster than sand in an hourglass. Yet every person who achieves extraordinary results shares a secret. They don't have more hours. They master the hours they've got. Today, you transform your relationship with time, turning it from a relentless enemy into your most powerful ally. Imagine time as a river flowing past you. You can't stop its current, but you can navigate it cleverly, steering your boat into calmer eddies, avoiding the rapids, and using the flow to propel you forward. Time mastery is that navigation skill, choosing where to focus your energy, when to rest, and how to structure your day so that your efforts align with your deepest priorities. Start by clarifying your top objectives. At the beginning of each week, identify your big three, the 3 outcomes that, if you accomplish them, make the week a success. Write them down in bold at the top of your planner or digital calendar. Maybe it's drafting a crucial report, preparing for a key pitch, and conducting feedback sessions with your team. These big 3 become your navigational stars, guiding every decision on how you allocate your time. Next, map out your days with intentional time blocks. The concept is simple. Rather than letting meetings, emails, and random tasks dictate your schedule, you schedule your most important work first. Block deep work sessions, uninterrupted periods of at least 60 to 90 minutes during your peak energy hours. For many people, that's morning. For others, early afternoon. Protect these blocks ruthlessly by setting your status to Do Not Disturb, closing your inbox, and letting colleagues know, and these are sacred focus sessions. Between deep work sessions, incorporate recovery breaks. Our brains aren't built for marathon concentration. They need rest to recharge. Schedule short, non-negotiable breaks, a 5-minute stretch, a quick walk, or a brief mindfulness moment. These breaks don't waste time. They compound your effectiveness, preventing cognitive fatigue and decision paralysis. To capture tasks that pop up during deep work, keep a simple capture notebook or app by your side. Rather than interrupting your focus to respond to a stray thought, remember to email John. Look up that step. Schedule that meeting. Jot it down quickly and return to your task. At the end of each deep work session, you'll have a concise list of follow-ups to address during your administrative time. Speaking of administrative time, designate specific, shallow work blocks for those necessary but low cognitive load tasks. Email triage, scheduling, routine paperwork. Batch similar tasks together to leverage context switching, answering emails for 30 minutes, then handling scheduling for 20 minutes, then closing loop breakers for 15 minutes. This batching prevents scattershot task switching, preserving your mental bandwidth for what truly matters. As you craft your weekly and daily plans, embrace the rule of 60%. Recognize that not all scheduled time is fully productive. Unexpected meetings, urgent requests, or creative lulls happen. Instead of filling 100% of your calendar, aim to schedule 60% of your available hours with deep and shallow work. That buffer zone absorbs disruptions without derailing your priorities. When recurring tasks or meetings threaten to crowd out your big 3, apply the Eisenhower matrix. For each task, ask, is it urgent? Is it important? Urgent plus important. Do it now. Important, but not urgent. Block time for it. Urgent, but not important. And delegate it if possible. Neither urgent nor important. Eliminate or defer it. Apply this filter daily to newsletters, low-value meetings, and endless pings. By ruthlessly pruning tasks that don't align with your objectives, you reclaim hours for high-impact work. To maintain momentum, use style of work sprints. Inspired by the Pomodoro technique, set your timer for 25 minutes of pure focus, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 sprints, take a longer 15-minute rest. These sprints harness urgency, knowing the clock is ticking, while preventing burnout through regular pauses. Experiment with sprint lengths to find your optimal cadence. Some thrive on 45-10 or 50-10 ratios. Another powerful tool is time auditing. Once a month, spend a day tracking every activity in 15-minute increments. Meetings, email, deep work, breaks, social media, even bathroom visits. At day's end, categorize each interval under your big 3: shallow work, breaks, and time wasters. This audit reveals painful truths. Perhaps you spend 2 hours a day on email that could be slashed in half. Or you lose precious focus time to unproductive chats. Use these insights to recalibrate your schedule and set new boundaries. Speaking of boundaries, learn the art of strategic decline. Saying no is not negative, it's empowering. When invited to meetings or projects that don't align with your objectives, offer a graceful decline. Thank you for including me. Unfortunately, I'm prioritizing X right now. Perhaps I can contribute another way. This clarity sets expectations and protects your bandwidth for what truly moves the needle. For collaborative work, establish meeting protocols. At the start of each meeting, clarify its purpose. Decision, brainstorm, update, or planning. If the meeting drifts off topic, gently steer it back. That's a great point, but let's park it and return to our decision on X. Whenever possible, replace meetings with asynchronous updates, brief video recordings, shared documents, or chat threads, which participants can review at their convenience. Fewer meetings mean more deep work. Digital tools can amplify your time mastery. Use calendar features like buffer time to automatically block 10 to 15 minutes between meetings. Employ project management apps to visualize task timelines and dependencies. Leverage automation, email filters, canned responses, recurring task templates to eliminate repetitive drudgery. But beware of tool overwhelm. Choose 2 or 3 platforms maximum and integrate them through simple workflows to avoid context switch chaos. Mindset anchors your time strategy. Cultivate the anthem, progress over perfection. When you catch yourself tweaking presentations or code endlessly, ask, is this iteration adding meaningful value? Or am I chasing perfection? Set a clear iteration limit, 3 revisions, 2 reviews, then move on. Perfectionism is the thief of productivity. Shipping a good version now often beats an ideal version later. Maintain a daily shutdown ritual. At the end of each workday, devote 5 minutes to close out tasks. Review your calendar for tomorrow. Clear any leftover capture notes. Set your big 3 priorities and power down your devices. This ritual signals to your brain that work is complete, reducing evening rumination and improving sleep quality. Finally, anchor your long-term vision in quarterly themes instead of vague yearly resolutions. Assign each quarter a guiding theme. Q1, skill focus, master public speaking. Q2, network expansion, connect with 5 mentors. Q3, health optimization, prioritize sleep and nutrition. And Q4, creative output, publish monthly articles. Within each quarter, Break themes into monthly and weekly actions, ensuring your daily time investments ladder up to big picture goals. As you weave these time mastery techniques into your routine, big 3 priorities, deep work blocks, recovery breaks, batched shallow work, strategic declines, and shutdown rituals, you'll notice your days feeling more spacious, your progress more visible, and your ambition more sustainable. You become the architect of your hours rather than their victim. Take a moment now and open your calendar for tomorrow. Block your first deep work session. Schedule your big 3 priorities and carve out breaks. Close your notebook, set your phone to do not disturb during focus time, and step into the day knowing you control the current of your time river. Each deliberate stroke brings you closer to your destination. You're standing in the middle of your day's hustle, emails pinging, meetings looming, a mental soundtrack of deadlines rattling in your head, when a single thought cuts through the noise. Where am I right now? That moment of pause, this flash of presence, is your gateway to mindful living. Today, you'll anchor yourself in the present moment, cultivating a clarity and calm that transforms every action from mechanical reaction to intentional engagement. Imagine you're gazing at a smooth lake at dawn. The surface is untroubled, reflecting the sky's pale colors without distortion. In that moment, you're wholly aware, the cool air on your skin, the gentle lapping of water, the birdsong rising in the distance. Mindful presence brings that same quality of full attention to your daily life. Whether you're typing at your keyboard, speaking in a meeting, or sipping a cup of tea. Begin with the simplest practice, conscious breathing. Stop right now, wherever you are, and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling your belly expand. Then exhale gently through your mouth, noticing the release of tension. Each breath anchors you in the here and now. Build this into your routine by placing 3 breath breaks in your calendar, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and before leaving work. These micropauses reset your nervous system and interrupt the autopilot of busyness. To deepen presence, engage your senses deliberately. For the next 5 minutes, pick one everyday activity, drinking your coffee, walking down the hallway, or washing your hands, and experience it as if for the first time. Notice the aroma, the warmth, the texture of the mug. Feel the weight of each step or the sensation of water tracing your fingers. This sensory immersion transforms mundane moments into fresh experiences, reminding your brain that life unfolds one moment at a time. At your desk, practice single task focus. Mathieu, choose one task: drafting an email, analyzing a report, writing a blog post, and commit to it fully for a set period. Say 20 minutes. When your mind wanders to another item, gently guide it back to the chosen task without judgment. Each time you return your attention, you strengthen your mental attention muscle. Over weeks, this habit of undivided focus reduces distraction, speeds up completion, and fosters a deeper sense of engagement with your work. When meetings blur together, or you find yourself nodding along while your mind travels elsewhere, reclaim presence with a simple tactic: anchor questions. Before speaking or listening, silently ask yourself, what is my role in this moment? And what's the purpose here? These prompts tether you to the meeting's intention and your contribution, preventing your attention from drifting to email or upcoming tasks. Use technology mindfully, not mindlessly. Slash the tsunami of notifications by customizing your phone's settings. Allow only essential alerts, calendar reminders, urgent messages from a handful of key contacts. Turn off social media notifications entirely during focus periods. When you pick up your phone, ask, Am I using this tool for a purpose or just out of habit? That question disrupts compulsive scrolling and invites you back into intentional action. A powerful way to cultivate presence is through mindful transitions. Every time you shift from one activity to another, after a meeting, when you return to your desk, before you check social media, take one conscious breath and a brief mental note. I am shifting from X to Y. This tiny ritual marks the boundary between tasks, preventing the mental residue of one activity from spilling into the next and keeping your mind fresh. Bring mindfulness into conversations by practicing deep listening. When someone speaks, resist the urge to plan your response while they're talking. Instead, focus fully on their words, tone, and body language. If your mind wanders, silently repeat the last few words they said to tether your attention to them. This not only enriches your understanding, but also builds trust and rapport. People sense when you're truly present. Stressful moments are prime opportunities for presence. When tension spikes, maybe an urgent email arrives, or a difficult conversation looms, deploy a 3-count pause. Inhale for a count of 3, hold for a count of 3, exhale for a count of 3. That simple triangle breath slows your heart rate, calms your mind, and creates a space between stimulus and response. In that space, you choose a measured reaction instead of an impulsive one. Throughout your day, schedule mindful check-ins. Set subtle reminders on your watch or computer to pause for a breath and mentally scan your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? Is your back rigid? When you identify physical tension, gently stretch or change posture, roll your shoulders, unclench your jaw, stand and reach upward. This somatic awareness interrupts built-up stress and realigns you with your body's needs. Consider integrating a short daily meditation practice. Even 5 minutes of seated meditation can profoundly shift your baseline. Find a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and return your attention to the breath. When thoughts arise, plans, worries, to-do lists, notice them without judgment. Label them thinking and let them drift away like clouds. Over time, you'll notice a quieter mind throughout the day, making presence more accessible in every moment. Mindful presence also extends to your digital environment. Declutter your desktop, both physically and digitally. A tidy workspace, only the documents, tool, or notes you need for the task at hand, reduces visual noise that competes for your attention. On your computer, close unused windows, organize files into clear folders, and minimize desktop icons. These small acts of organization free your mind to focus on the task, not the clutter. Blend movement with mindfulness through walking meditation. Pick a short route around your office floor, down a quiet hallway, or in a nearby courtyard. Walk slowly, placing deliberate attention on each step. Heel touches, foot rolls, ball of the foot, toes. Feel the ground beneath you, the air around you, the weight shift from one leg to the other. This moving meditation recharges both body and mind, delivering a breakout from sedentary routines and reconnecting you to the present. To weave presence into complex or stressful tasks, use mindful intention setting. Before you begin a challenging project, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and set a clear intention. I engage this task with curiosity and calm. Or, I approach this meeting with openness and active listening. This pre-task ritual frames your mindset, sharpening your focus and cushioning your mind against distraction or negative self-talk. Reflect on your mindfulness practice in your daily journal. Section 2. At day's end, note 2 questions. When was I most present today? And When did I realize I was distracted? By mapping these moments, you identify your habitual triggers and refine your strategies. Perhaps you notice you're most present during early morning tasks and lose focus mid-afternoon. Insight that guides you to place your highest focus work in that morning window. In team settings, cultivate group mindfulness. Start meetings with a brief moment of collective silence, just 30 seconds to settle into the room. Invite participants to place a hand on their chest and take one full breath. This shared pause synchronizes attention and signals a shift from individual busyness to collaborative presence. Over time, your team will come to expect and appreciate this grounding practice. Beware of the trap of overanalysis, getting so caught up in mindfulness techniques that you miss their purpose. If you find yourself judging your ability to stay present, I'm terrible at meditation. My mind drifts too much. Acknowledge that judging is the very thing you're trying to overcome. Gently steer back. I notice judgment. I return to my breath. Presence grows with gentle curiosity, not self-criticism. To sustain your mindfulness journey, tie it to an inspiring mantra, an anchor phrase that embodies presence. Something like, just this moment, or be here now. Repeat it silently whenever you catch yourself lost in thought or stress. Each repetition resets your mind to the present, embedding the habit more deeply over time. Seasonally, conduct a mindfulness audit. Choose a quiet afternoon and reflect on your mindfulness milestones. How often you used mindful pauses, the length and consistency of your meditation practice, or the frequency of your mindful transitions. Chart your progress, celebrate the growth, and identify areas to recommit. This periodic review reminds you of the value of mindful presence and renews your dedication. Finally, remember that mindful presence is not a passive state. It's the active choice to live each moment with awareness. When you greet someone, listen fully. When you eat, taste fully. When you work, focus fully. By infusing your day with these mindful moments, you transform routine actions into deliberate practices that strengthen your mind and enrich your life. Take a breath now. Feel the air entering your lungs, the rise and fall of your chest, the subtle pause before your next inhale. Carry that presence into the rest of your day, and notice how every moment becomes a chance to live with intention, clarity, and joy. You feel the cumulative weight of all you've learned, the stretch goals you set, the reflections you journaled, the skills you practiced, the feedback you embraced, the lessons you consumed, the circle you cultivated, the health you prioritized, or the progress you tracked, the self-talk you rewrote, the actions you took, the time you mastered, and the presence you anchored. Now comes the final, vital step. Weaving these threads into a single tapestry of habits, so seamless, you barely notice their presence, yet feel their impact every hour of every day. This is your habit integration blueprint, the art of making growth second nature. Imagine a weaver at a loom, threading individual strands of vibrant color into a cohesive pattern. Each thread alone has texture and hue. Together, they form a design far more intricate and enduring. Your habits are those threads. The goal is not to manage each in isolation, but to integrate them so each supports and reinforces the others, creating a resilient, self-sustaining system of growth. Begin by mapping your daily growth ritual, a sequence of habit anchors placed at natural transition points throughout your day. Sketch it out on paper or in a note app. Morning launch, immediately upon waking. You reflect briefly, Section 2, set your big 3, Section 11, and repeat your affirmations, Section 9. Pre-work, warm up, 15 minutes of focused learning or skill practice, sections 3 and 5, powered by coffee or tea, in a consistent spot. First, deep work block, a 60 to 90 minute uninterrupted session, section 11, followed by a feedback micro-ask or review note, section 4. Midday health break, a short movement routine, walk or desk circuit, section 7, paired with a mindful lunch, section 12, and hydration check, section 7. Afternoon reflection and learning, a 5-minute reflection on that morning's progress, section 2, and 10 minutes of educational content, section 5, B. Second deep work session, another protected focus block, section 11, followed by capturing tasks in your notebook, section 11, and sending one feedback request, section 4. Pre-evening wind down, reflection journal entry, section T pixelated 2, one last affirmation cycle point, section 9 daily did this month, and planning tomorrow's big 3, section 11. This rhythmic blueprint leverages the natural ebb and flow of your energy, peaks of deep focus, valleys of movement and reflection, and restorative pauses, while seamlessly interweaving each growth lever. Adjust timing windows to your chronotype, but maintain the overall sequence. Reflect, affirm, learn, act, focus, move, reflect, learn, act, wind down. To anchor each habit, employ context response triggers. These are simple environmental cues, actions, or settings that automatically prompt the next habit. Examples: alarm stop, reflections and affirmations. Your phone's morning alarm becomes the trigger for your first reflection and affirmation cycle. Boiling water, learning session. The sound of your kettle signals it's time for morning learning. Completion of deep work timer, feedback. Ask. When your deep work timer chimes, immediately draft and send a feedback request on what you just completed. Midday sunlight, health break. Seeing sunlight through your window triggers your movement routine and mindful lunch. Evening smartphone. Switch off, wind down ritual. Flipping your phone to do not disturb mode cues your final reflection and planning. Identify 8 to 10 such triggers and link them to your core habits. The fewer cognitive steps between trigger and response, the more automatic the habit becomes. Next, integrate your habit stacking technique. After a well-established habit, add a new mini habit to piggyback onto it. For instance, after you brush your teeth in the morning, existing habit. Immediately write your 3 reflection questions, new habit. After your first deep work session, existing habit, take a 2-minute stretch break, then note and 1 progress highlight, new habit. After dinner, existing habit, review your tracker and fill today's entries, new habit. This approach minimizes decision fatigue because you're not choosing when to start a habit. You're simply appending it to something you already do. Over weeks, those mini habits coalesce into a robust routine. To sustain integration, monitor your habits through the weekly habit review. Block 15 minutes each Sunday evening to evaluate. 1. Which daily growth ritual elements did I complete consistently? 2. Which ones dropped off and why? 3. What adjustments can I make? Timing, triggers, or habit order? Or performer arts? What victories will I celebrate? And which challenges will I troubleshoot? Record your answers in your journal or habit app. This feedback loop ensures your blueprint evolves with your life circumstances, preventing stagnation and keeping the system responsive. Another powerful layer is thematic focus weeks. Choose one habit cluster each month to spotlight. Say, feedback week, learning week, health week. During that week, increase the frequency or intensity of that cluster's activities. For feedback week, you might double your micro-asks. For learning week, you may expand sessions to 20 minutes. This concentrated spotlight reignites patterns that have waned and deepens the neural grooves associated with those habits. Accountability fortifies integration. Share your daily growth ritual or weekly habit review with a committed partner or group. Section 6. Post your blueprint outline and updates in a shared document or group chat. When you miss a trigger or a stack, your accountability network gently inquires, "Did you get that reflection in? How's the morning learning going?" That social layer transforms private routines into collective commitments, making habits stickier. Expect friction when integrating so many levers. Your brain might push back at the complexity. "This feels like too much," it warns. When overwhelm arises, simplify by returning to your core. Reflect, action, and tracking. Strip back to the skeleton of your blueprint, just 3 anchors. A morning reflection, a 1 deep work block. Evening review, then rebuild gradually. Integration is not an all-or-nothing sprint, but a marathon of incremental growth. Leverage technology mindfully to support integration. Use calendar automations to schedule triggers, habit tracking apps to visualize chains, and note-taking platforms to stack reflection, feedback, and learning logs in one place. Keep your digital tools streamlined. Too many apps dilute focus. Choose platforms that sync across devices, so your blueprint travels with you, from computer to phone to tablet. As your integrated system matures, you'll notice habits feeding one another organically. Reflections fuel your deep work insights. Learning sessions spark new feedback asks. Improved health boosts your focus blocks. Effective time mastery frees up energy for mindful presence. These interconnections create a virtuous cycle. Each habit's momentum amplifies the rest. Consider the story of Maya, a freelance designer who struggled to balance client work, skill development, and personal well-being. She built a habit integration blueprint: morning reflections, midday movement, afternoon learning, evening skill sprints, nightly journaling. She tied each habit to clear triggers, alarm, lunch break, end of work notification, and reviewed progress weekly. Within 2 months, Maya reported feeling calmer, more creative, and consistently hitting deadlines. Her business grew, and she even made time to experiment with new design tools. Integration also requires compassionate reset. Sometimes life disrupts the best routines: travel, illness, family emergencies. When your blueprint unravels, resist shame. Acknowledge the disruption. Identify which triggers failed and reestablish one anchor habit immediately. Compassionate resets prevent derailment from becoming derailing habit. Finally, celebrate the architecture you've built. Your habit integration blueprint is not a straitjacket of obligations, but a dynamic framework for evolution. Every day you execute your routine is a testament to your commitment. Every adjustment you make is a sign of your adaptability. And every victory, no matter how small, is a tribute to the power of deliberate design. Take a moment now. Open your planner or app. Draft your daily growth ritual map with context response triggers and schedule your first weekly habit review. With this blueprint woven into your life, you're not just chasing growth, you're living it day in and day out. You've journeyed through 10 powerful strategies: setting goals that stretch you, reflecting honestly, practicing skills deeply, seeking feedback, feeding your mind, curating your circle, honoring your health, tracking progress, mastering self-talk, taking consistent action, owning your time, and anchoring presence. Now, as this chapter draws to a close, slow your pace. Let your shoulders soften, your breath lengthen, and your mind settle into the gentle assurance that you possess everything you need to continue this path. Growth is not a sprint, but a tapestry woven one deliberate thread at a time. You don't need bursts of heroic willpower or miraculous inspiration. You need small, purposeful choices, each day, each moment, woven into habits that carry you forward steadily. And now, with your habit integration blueprint, you have the loom, the threads, and the pattern. Breathe in the quiet confidence that comes from structure and design. Breathe out the remnants of doubt and distraction. Recognize that every step you've taken in this journey has built the architecture for your best self. You've learned to treat mistakes as data, to see challenges as opportunities, and to view setbacks not as failures, but as essential lessons. Allow yourself a moment of gratitude for the awareness you've cultivated, for the insights you've gained, and for the courage you've shown in confronting resistance. Growth isn't always comfortable. It requires asking hard questions, stepping outside familiar patterns, and persevering through moments of uncertainty. Yet here you are, still committed, still moving forward. As you step off this page and into the rhythm of your life, carry these principles with you, but not as burdens to check off. Carry them as quiet companions, gentle reminders to pause, reflect, act, and celebrate. Let them guide your choices without overshadowing your spontaneity. Tomorrow, when you wake and feel the pull of routine, remember, you've built a system that supports you. You've designed a life where every inhale becomes insight and every action becomes momentum. Trust in that system, trust in your capacity, and trust in the power of small steps taken consistently. Thank you for committing to this process. Your journey of growth continues with each sunrise, each choice, each breath there. Go forth now, with intention and confidence, dear, and weave your days into the masterpiece you were born to create.